Hello, I'm Jonathan Bowman-Perks and welcome back to my favourite time of the week. And as part of the Inspiring Leadership series, I'm very lucky to have Barry Leahey MBE. And Barry has cracked a huge amount of things in his life. I'm very impressed by all that he has already done by the age of 45. But his MBE was for services to international trade. He's a managing director of his own business, which is a family business, and he's done a huge amount, as well as being a really high-level 800-metre runner in his early life. So, Barry, welcome. It's great having you on the
Nice to
on
be
the
here,
programme.
Jonathan. Thank you.
We were talking about people who've inspired you, and who would you like to recognise as sort of shaping the leader you are today?
I think we have to. I think most of us go back to parents, and I'm no different in that respect. I had some parents that believed in me, and I think in return that inspired me to impress and wanting to deliver. I think it's a natural phenomena to want to impress your parents, and they treated me right, and there was a lot of discipline there, for sure, and the morals and the social understanding that they gave me, I think it inspired me to do better in an early life.
Yep.
And I think I jumped on that treadmill early, literally.
Yeah.
And you talked about athletics, and they were great at sport, and they inspired me. And I think I saw Sebastian Coe break the world record in 1981, 1:41.73 on the television. We were on holiday, and I was 7. And I asked my father, can I go out running with him the next day?
Really?
And from then on, I believe many children, the football player's name on the back of the shirts, they have it for a few weeks or a few months. But I was obsessed to become the next Sebastian Coe. So
and it's interesting, this drive, because I see this drive and obsession in you. But also somebody else you said really shaped you early on and made you believe in yourself and what mattered and what to do to improve yourself. Tell me about your PE teacher.
Okay, so there's a gentleman that I have told since, but someone who got hold of me at the age of, I would have been 16, and he was an A-level PE teacher, and I'm sure he's changed many people's lives. But he was the gentleman.
What's his name? Do you mention his name? Or
I'd happily tell it. I'll say it to camera. It's Jeff Caffey, and I appreciate everything he did. And I actually wrote to him a couple of years ago when I received the MBE to tell him that. Actually.
Wow. And what did he do to?
He sat me down and told me to almost reined me in, because when you're 16 and you're fit and athletic and you feel like you know the world. He sat me down and told me to read about the world.
Right.
And literally every day from that point, I read the Times.
Really?
And to the point of OCD, which I guess also creeps into my persona. Yeah. And
most successful men and women are quite obsessive about what they do.
Yeah. So
okay. So he was important, and then we were talking about leadership, and we have this balance of not getting carried away with believing our own smoke. And one of the things that's always a good grounder is when we make mistakes, and we admit mistakes, and we learn from them. What would be your story of a mistake you've made and what you learned from it to be a better leader?
Okay, well, I've made hundreds of mistakes. Probably in trying to be very textbook in the early part of my career. And it was all about, and I'm a big believer in empowerment.
Yeah.
All right, and I believe that drives engagement. However, trying to map out somebody's vision. So a real example would be a lady that I worked with. I definitely had a vision for her, and I would coach, cajole, motivate, and push and help them along their way down a certain path.
But did she think it was helping?
No, I think initially, but I was almost obsessive around that, and it pushed her out. It pushed her away from me, which I may not have much emotion, but it hurt deep inside that they didn't want to follow my vision. And that, from what I learned from that is, you have your vision, other people have visions.
Yes.
Great leaders have great visions, but it doesn't mean that people who are working for you, with you, have that same vision, and that's what about surrounding yourself by people that want to be on your journey, etc.
And before we go into your top tip, your leadership top tip, I mean, you've packed a lot in already. Just in a short little capsule, just give us a flavour of some of the things you've been doing over the last few years and the things you're proudest of.
Okay, well, Playdale has to be my number one driver. I'm managing director at Playdale. We are we're steeped in history, 9 generations as a family firm, and I'm the first person within that firm to not be from the family to run it, and which leads to all types of little intricacies. And however, we'd always been in the UK, never operated outside these shores. Great Britain really was Great Britain, and I had the aspirations to become a global business. And in the last 10 years, I visited over 60 countries, 600 flights, and we're now trading in 49 countries, and we're seen as an exemplar in the UK.
That's great.
And this is a UK manufacturer from Cumbria. And
was this how you got your MBE?
This was, yeah. And from that, and I don't want to shout, but other people then ask for advice, and I've probably, a couple of hundred businesses I've actually sat down with in the Northwest UK. And
so Cumbria is where it's based.
Yeah, and help them along their journey, because I'm a big believer as well of paying forward or paying back.
Yep.
And if people ask for help, then you give it.
Yeah.
And it allows me. That's what satisfies me. I get most satisfaction about seeing other people develop, and that includes other businesses. I think
that's great. Okay, and then the other thing was, as we sort of develop ourselves, you did say to me, it's quite interesting that you're quite a modest, quite a shy guy, but yet at the same time you've been taught by coaches and people you have to put on a good front. How do you manage that sort of paradox? There's one part of us, but yet we try and boost ourselves another way. How do you manage that?
I do an awful lot of mental rehearsal.
Yeah.
And I think that's what I've been coached into. I do an awful lot of planning. So I will, and I think that's a good and bad thing, because the brain doesn't get much time to switch off. But I'm very methodical in what I am doing and what my preparation is around it. Yeah. And therefore, my downtime allows me to be that shy guy.
Mm-hmm. That's important to have the downtime, and a number of, actually there's a disproportionate number of managing directors like you and CEOs who are more introverts than extroverts, or ambiverts, that's sort of somewhere in the middle. People always think they're always going to be very extrovert. They're not. They're actually quite reflective people, and in their downtime they need often to be quiet and on their own to recharge, ready to go out and talk to lots of people, as you have to do. Yeah. So, final tip. What would be your leadership top tip that you'd share with the audiences?
Make every day count. Mm-hmm. Be the best person you can be every day, because if you're not, then that's when status quo sets in. Mm-hmm. And if you're a leader, you can't be happy with status quo. You've got to continually be disrupting and moving forward, because the second you stand still, you're actually going backwards, because the world around us is progressing all the time.
That's very good. In fact, I love that bit of advice. And I was just, someone said to me that, I think it's Jack Welch, said that when the pace of change inside your organization is slower than the pace of change outside your organization, then your organization is going to die. Yeah. So you need to keep the pace up. So that fits with your advice.
Yeah, and he's one of my great business leaders that inspires me. So that makes sense.
So Barry, thank you very much indeed. Great having you.
Thank you.
On the programme. I'm sure everybody will enjoy what you have shared. And I look forward to our Inspiring Leadership Extra. Thank you.
Thank you.